A one-pan sheet pan meal with chicken, broccoli, potatoes, all put together with Parmesan and a very simple honey Dijon vinaigrette. Let me tell you, if you're wondering what to make on a weeknight meal, this is the one you're gonna wanna make time and again, and I'm gonna show you why each step is so easy and doable for you too, so let's make it. A good roast chicken should always be in everyone's back pocket, and this really is the simplicity of this recipe. And while this encompasses potatoes and broccoli with it, it starts with chicken, which we're gonna start with a really good rub. And underneath the skin, I like to put something that's going to add flavor, but also lots of texture, and that's what this does. So we're starting with butter. I like it at room temperature. And what I wanna do is just put it into, and you can see it's somewhat soft. That means it's pliable, it's easy to work with. We're gonna put it right into a bowl, and to that, we're gonna add just some aromatics and flavor. Starting with one of my favorites, Dijon mustard. So Dijon to me, I think of it as that secret essence underneath things that you're not necessarily just tasting mustard, but you're noticing this underlying flavor that really brings out so many other notes. To that, I'm going to actually take a couple garlic cloves and grate them in. Now, I always just take the root end off of my garlic clove. I like to just kind of smash it a little bit, and then that's just going to allow that skin to easily release around the clove of garlic itself. That makes it much easier to actually just take it through the grater. Now, grating will take and break all those cell walls and releases all the flavor. Grating the garlic is gonna make sure it infuses that flavor right to the meat, which is what we want. So I'm gonna knock all this right in there. Then I'm gonna take the zest of a lemon. You can see it's the nice bright part, so it's washed really well. You know, kind of depending on the time of year, you can play with a Meyer lemon if you want, which has a little bit more of a floral note. But either way, the important part is to make sure it's well washed. I try to use an organic lemon. You don't want a wax coating on it. But what I'm doing is just running this grater around, and you can see I'm just getting the bright yellow parts. That's the essential oils where all the flavor is. And then I pick it up with my grater upside down, and I just turn it over and put it right in. We're also gonna add some thyme. Thyme and chicken, they work so well together. And what I like to do is just strip the leaves off. So I take maybe a sprig or two, take my finger, and just pull off all those leaves. I don't know, here's the thing. You could chop them smaller if you want to. But I find that once you're really working it in, once they roast with that chicken, they don't need to be chopped up as long as they're just kind of taken off that stem. Those leaves break down, they give what you need, and that's kind of the best part. We're gonna add some salt. Super important to always season your meat. And we're doing a whole chicken. There's a lot of meat, and we wanna make sure it's well seasoned. The biggest thing we do at home is we undersalt things. And when you're cooking at home, you can add the salt to make sure it's flavored well, and it brings out the actual moisture that is needed and retains it in the chicken itself. After I finish with some black pepper, I'm just gonna mash this all together until it's well combined. And that simple, we've made a really good butter. So here's the thing. We're gonna talk about the best way maybe to prepare chicken. What we have here is a chicken that I've already spatchcocked, which if you don't know what that is, this is a roasting chicken. Usually they're around 4 to 5 pounds. They can range a little bit around that. But what we have is a really simple, the breasts are on front, the legs are back here, but if I turn it over, that backbone I've removed and I've just cut it out with either a sharp knife. I usually use either a shears or a sharp knife. And what that allows you to do is open up the chicken, and you can lay it over then, and you can use that breastbone in stock. I like to freeze little bits like that, and when I save up a few of the breasts, like the backbones, I then use them and make a really good rich stock. But what I do then is I smash this to make sure it's gonna sit a little bit more level. Now, if you wanna roast a whole chicken, you can, but they can sometimes roast a little unevenly, and they can take longer. If you spatchcock it, you're reducing the time it takes to roast it, and you're also allowing it to roast more evenly. You have the leg and thigh. With the dark meat down here, you have the white breast meat, and all of it's gonna cook more evenly. The next part I do to ensure that I have a really crispy skin, but I also have a well-seasoned meat, is I'm going to take the skin, which is right here, and I like to work my fingers underneath it. And what this is doing is it's separating the skin from the meat, and that's gonna allow air to go in between. And that's gonna mean it really crisps up the skin, which is what you want. Because that crispy skin, it's not like fried chicken, but it gives you just that element of it. So once I'm working my fingers in, you can see I'm not tearing the skin because you wanna leave it intact, but you can even work it in on the bottom side here, and you can get your finger all the way in over to the leg, to the thigh, and that's just gonna help elevate that skin and help it get really crispy. Once we do that, we're taking the butter. It's gonna get messy. This is how it is. Your hands are really needed here. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna take all the butter and we're gonna start working it underneath the skin. And do you see how I'm able to get it in? And then I can just take it and push it into different places. And we're gonna coat all of the meat in this butter. I just washed my hands. Do that often when you're working with any type of raw meat, especially chicken. I always want to make sure I keep as clean as I can, not only on my hands, but in my workspace. But I have my parchment lined baking sheet, and now what I want to do is take my chicken, and I'm from now going to just set it on this, and we can kind of separate it out and make sure it's laying flat here in a little bit. But what you can see is this is now, look how even level that is, as opposed to a chicken that is more rounded and put together, like a whole chicken. This is going to roast so much easier and much quicker. When I think about what I want to do next, which is I'm going to have potatoes that roast with this, I want to make sure they get a crispy underneath, and I want to make sure the skin on top gets crispy. We put the butter and the flavor underneath the skin, but on top we have nothing, along with the potatoes that are going to go around it. So I'm going to take some olive oil, and I'm going to drizzle not only the top, I'm going to let it go over onto the parchment, because that is what's going to help these potatoes get really crispy. So I have gold potatoes. You can use smaller ones, baby ones, but the important thing is to make them more of an even size, so when they roast at a more even kind of rate, like they do with the chicken. So when they're, medium size, I'm gonna cut them in half. If they're really big, you can cut them in quarters. It just kind of depends what size you have. Like this one's a little bit bigger, so maybe this one, actually I could leave that one in half too, but I'll cut that one in quarters so you can see. It really just depends on what size you're finding. If they get really small, you can leave them whole. I personally think like on this one, you kind of just want to manage what size you have. You can see this is about the size of a half, so I will leave that one whole. If they get a little bit bigger, I'm going to go back to cutting them in half. But what we're doing here is picking a gold potato, which bakes really well. It keeps its shape, but it's very soft on the interior. And that's what we want, because we're cutting the roasting time down on this chicken to make sure something like these potatoes can roast with it. So as I set them on here, cut side down, I'm making sure I'm rubbing them in that oil because I want that cut side to get that great kind of sizzle on it. So I'll pull it up here so you can see and just kind of put all these potatoes around the chicken. So we're making really not one pot meal, but a one pan meal. That's all gonna roast together. And so you have all this space around the chicken. And think of it this way. While these are roasting, that butter is going to not only melt and flavor the chicken, it's going to come out onto the pan and it's gonna help flavor these potatoes too. That's kind of the exciting part, right? Is when you can have multi-levels of flavor that really go in and finish everything off. Most of the potatoes are on there. I have this last one I'm gonna be able to put on, and this is a bigger one, so I'm gonna do it in quarters, it looks like. And what I wanna do is one final time, I'm going to give a little bit more oil to these potatoes, just to make sure they have that crispiness all over them. I think, again, the thing we don't do at home, if your food you feel like is bland, it doesn't taste good, you're not oiling it enough, or adding a good medium, like a fat, and you're not seasoning it enough. So we're gonna add salt all over, including on the turkey. We did add salt, remember, into that butter, right down to the meat, but you also wanna make sure it's on top. And then we're gonna add pepper, and we're gonna put this right into our oven and let it roast until the chicken is done. We're gonna take it, and I'll show you the temperature at 2 places to make sure it's done. I just pulled this out for the first part of the roasting. Now you can see what looks gorgeous is the chicken. We get that beautiful burnished, crispy brown skin. It gets that nice crisp exterior. Oh, so good. And you can see the potatoes are pretty much roasted. So what we're gonna do at this point, any meat has a lot of residual heat. So when I take the temperature, I'm wanting my breast to be 160 degrees, my thighs to be around 170 or 165. Then what's gonna happen is that carryover cooking, because there's so much residual heat, is gonna continue to cook this outside of the oven. We're gonna come up and the breast will then, after 10, 15 minutes, be right at that perfect 165 degrees. So that's why you wanna take it out a little under so we don't overcook it in the oven. We're gonna set it aside right here, let it just rest and do everything it needs to do, and then we'll be able to, because there's so much heat, don't worry about it cooling off. It keeps cooking and it stays really hot. So what I'm gonna do is spread these potatoes out here at first. Now, you could keep the potatoes whole if you wanted to. I like a little bit more of a smashed potato, especially since we're gonna add some Parmesan to them. And you see all the flavor that has come out of the chicken too? You get those browned bits, those are flavor. So as I'm spreading these out, what I'm doing is just making it easier that I can get in here with a glass, which I have behind me. And this, you can do any surface that's flat. I'm just gonna give them a slight smash. So when you're doing that, do you see how they break open? What this does is allow more surface area. So when we put cheese on top, it will just be really nice and grab on top, but also it's gonna give more surface area to get crispy and finish roasting. So I have some broccoli that I chopped up. You can see a whole head here. And then I take the florets and I just make them into bite-sized pieces. So this is the final roasting time. It doesn't take near as long. Broccoli goes pretty quickly. The potatoes, as you can see, are very tender, but I want to put just a little bit more of a kind of a crisp edge on them. So I'm going to take just a few more pieces of the broccoli, and I'm going to, you can see, this is a little bit big to eat, right? And it's not going to roast as evenly. So we're going to chop something like that kind of in half. We're going to spread them out, get them kind of in between the potatoes, let them really just roast into some of the different crevices, pick up some of that flavor. And then once again, we're gonna add just a little bit more olive oil as I spread those around. And this is going to be not only for the broccoli, but on top of those potatoes too. So I just wanna make sure that broccoli has what it needs. And of course, again with that, what are we doing? We're adding flavor, we're seasoning along the way. We're gonna add a little bit of salt, making sure the broccoli, you can kind of steer clear of the potatoes if you think it has enough. And then we're gonna take some Parmesan. Yeah, the Parmesan makes everything better. But also, as it roasts at this high heat, it's going to just burnish and crisp onto the potatoes and broccoli. We're gonna put this right into the oven. We're gonna let it crisp up, then we're gonna cut everything up. The potatoes and broccoli finish roasting. I wanna show you how beautiful it looks. So you can see once they get done, the bottom sides of them get that super crisp crust. The Parmesan bakes onto them. This is to me when you're happy cooking, because look how easy this was. And yet we added immense flavor, we added texture. We have a full meal here. We have our broccoli for some green, and roasted broccoli is delicious. I mean, my 14-year-old, almost 14, but by the time you watch this, she'll be 14, niece, she's a picky eater, but you know what she loves? She loves roasted broccoli because it's good, and the Parmesan makes it great. I mean, how good is that? So what I have now is all of that plated, but we're gonna work now on focusing on this beautiful chicken that has been resting. So the reason we rest it is because if you just cut it when it comes out of the oven, it really just releases way too much of its moisture that you want it to keep. You want it to lock in its natural juices so they stay in the meat and stay super moist. So now that it's been sitting, you'll still have some that comes out, but not near as much. It should cut and fall apart very easily because it's very well cooked. And you can kind of just cut it along the joints. Like, see how easy that was? And so you can cut it depending, you can break it down a lot if you want to. You can break it down fully into a leg and a thigh, which cut along that joint, feel it, kind of just let it coax out of it, and then cut it, and you can have your beautiful leg and thigh. You can cut the breast off if you want, or leave it on the bone. It doesn't really matter at this point. It should release from that bone pretty easily if you want to. So what I like to do is go in there, cut off that breast meat, and you can have a whole breast, a partial, but do you see still, after even sitting 15 minutes here, it has so much steam and it's almost too hot still to touch. So that's where all that residual heat, do not worry about letting it rest. It's super essential for making sure your meat is going to be the best it can be. And that's any cut of meat really once you roast it that long. You want it to make sure it can sit. And see how I'm keeping that skin as much as I can intact? And you still have that beautiful butter mixture with the garlic underneath. I mean, friends, this is to me a match made in heaven, and a good roast chicken dinner is gonna warm the soul. It's gonna act as a hug on one of those days when you're feeling really cold. It's just good. So I'm gonna reserve this. I'm just gonna pick off the meat from that. I will bear you the details of picking off all that meat. I'm gonna leave this breast here so I can try that one here in a minute. But what I'm gonna show you is then, I think anytime you have a roasted dinner or a vegetable kind of medley like this where you have potatoes, you have broccoli, I think it's really good to have a quick vinaigrette or a dressing that goes on top. I think it just finishes it off. It brings the meal together, makes it feel more complete. This was easy enough. We can do this on a weeknight. So we have honey. We're gonna do equal parts of Dijon mustard with that. This is a super simple, quick vinaigrette. We're gonna do some red wine vinegar. That just kind of balances it out, adds a little bit of that sweetness. Red wine vinegar also has kind of a good flavor compound that works with the Dijon really well. We're gonna again grate some garlic right into it. You can mince it too if you want, but I just think grating it is gonna kind of give that essence and that hit right at the end. You know, the garlic we have in the dish is roasted. It kind of takes on a sweeter note. It really hits in there. This is going to add that pungency we want right at the end. We need some salt, of course, in this, a little bit of pepper, and then some olive oil, because like I said, it's really a vinaigrette. We're not just trying to make a thick honey mustard, we're trying to make a really delicious vinaigrette that just goes over everything. Just just gonna slice a little bit of this chicken breast, because you can do this too. This is a great way to present it, kind of like you would a big turkey, but it's the smaller breast. So you can slice them up if you want, so they're easier for people to grab. See how nicely that is? The skin is still intact. But then when I go to serve it, I grab my platter and I like to drizzle some of this vinaigrette right over everything. This is great on the meat too. But just drizzling it across all those potatoes and those broccoli just kind of finishes it up. Add something special, super easy. What we're gonna do is get some of the chicken. When I tell you, that garlic Dijon butter we put underneath that meat, it is so good. The chicken's good too. You still taste the chicken, but I wanna try just a little piece of broccoli. Parmesan, roasted, Dijon, vinaigrette. This is delicious. What I love about it is, this is your winter meal that not only is a comfort food, but it's one that doesn't leave you feeling super heavy, dissatisfied. It leaves you very satiated, very happy, but also very comfort forward. That's what this is all about. So what do I hope you take away from this? A good meal is totally easy and doable to make at home on a weeknight with good ingredients that are friendly for the budget, but also friendly for your body and taste really good. Easy food that's forward, that will make you confident in the kitchen. That's what this is all about. A sheet pan meal that you're gonna make time and again. I think it's gonna become one on the weekly rotation. And so I hope you tell me how much you love it. As always, please check my website for this full recipe along with so many other recipes, wyseguide.com. It's also in the description of the video. And until next time, I hope you're enjoying something cozy and delicious this winter because we all need it.